2 days ago, people danced in the streets of Rio, not because Brazil won a World Cup, not because they won a trophy. They danced because one single name was announced, one player, one name, and an entire nation lost its mind. That name? Neymar. A man who hasn't played 3 games in a row all season. A man who missed 236 days through injury in just the last 18 months. A man that every pundit, every analyst, and half the football world had already buried. And yet, he is going to the World Cup. This is the story of the most complicated footballer on the planet, and why, despite everything, Brazil still needs him. To understand why this matters, you have to go back to the beginning. Santos, Brazil. 2003. An 11-year-old boy is running through the academy of one of football's most historic clubs. The same club that gave the world Pelé. The same stadium where legends are born. His name, Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. And from the very first moment he touches the ball, everyone knows. By the time he breaks into the first team as a teenager, the comparisons to the greats have already begun. In 2011, he drags Santos to the Copa Libertadores, South America's greatest prize, the first time the club had won it since the days of Pelé himself, nearly 50 years earlier. Twice in 2011 and again in 2012, he is named South American Footballer of the Year. In just a few seasons in that famous white shirt, he scores well over 100 goals. By 17, he is scoring goals that players twice his age dream about. By 20, he is the most talked about footballer on the planet. Barcelona come calling, Real Madrid come calling, Chelsea come calling. He chooses Barcelona. He has only just turned 21 when, in 2013, Barcelona finally win the race for his signature. And what happens next? 3 years, 1 Champions League title. One of the most iconic front threes in football history, Messi, Suarez, Neymar. In 2015, they win the treble, and Neymar scores in the final itself, a goal in the dying minutes against Juventus. He is 23 years old. He is unstoppable. He is the heir apparent. The football world asks one question: is Neymar about to become the best player on earth? But before we get to the injuries, the scandals, and the 476 days of silence, there's something Carlo Ancelotti told Neymar privately. Something that was never reported. A conversation that changed everything. We'll get to that. But first, you need to understand just how far Neymar fell. Football doesn't care about destiny. 2018. Russia, the World Cup, Brazil's golden generation. Neymar's moment, a cheap tackle, a broken metatarsal, and just like that, it's over. He makes it to Russia, eventually. But he's not right. Brazil go out in the quarterfinals. Neymar cries on the pitch. The cameras won't stop showing it. Then he leaves Barcelona. PSG pays 222 million euros, the most expensive transfer in history, for a player who, on his day, is still one of the top 3 on the planet. But Paris is not Barcelona. In France, he wins almost everything at home. League 1 titles, domestic cups, one trophy after another. But the Champions League, the single prize PSG had built their entire project around him to win, always slips through his fingers. The closest he ever comes is the final of 2020. In Lisbon, lost. 1-0 to Bayern Munich. Even his arrival in Europe had come wrapped in controversy, a transfer so tangled in hidden payments that it would drag him through a tax case across 2 countries. With Neymar, the brilliance always came with a storm attached. 2019, ankle, out 6 months, 2020, hamstring, out 3 months, 2023, ACL, out 9 months. Every time Neymar finds his rhythm, his body breaks down again. By the time he leaves Paris, he has missed more football through injury than most players lose in an entire career. And then comes Al Hilal, a move to Saudi Arabia. In the summer of 2023, the Saudi club pays a reported 90 million euros to bring him in. The money is extraordinary. The football? 7 games. Then another injury. Then silence. 476 days without a meaningful game. Just stop and think about that for a second. 476 days, while Mbappé wins league titles, while Vinicius tears apart Champions League opponents, while the rest of the football world moves on without him. Neymar watches from a treatment table, and nobody, absolutely nobody, expects him to come back. If you're enjoying this story, and trust me, it gets more unbelievable from here, hit subscribe. We tell the stories behind the stadiums, the ones that never make the highlights. This is what sport is actually about. January 2025. Neymar goes home, he signs for Santos, the club where everything began, where a skinny kid from a poor family first learned that football could be his life. It's emotional, it's symbolic. But is it enough? 6 goals in 13 games. Decent numbers, but not Neymar numbers. For a few weeks, the old magic flickers back to life. The step-overs, the no-look passes, the roar of a crowd that had waited more than a decade to see him in white again. And then the questions start all over. Carlo Ancelotti, Brazil's new manager, is asked about Neymar in every single press conference. His answer is always the same. Neymar's out of the list as he's just returned from injury. I spoke to him and we have an agreement. An agreement. What agreement? We find out on May the 18th, 2026. The private conversation between Ancelotti and Neymar, the one nobody reported, was simple. Come to Santos. Get fit. Prove to me you can play 3 games without breaking down. Do that and I'll take you to the World Cup. That's it. No promises, no guarantees. Just one last challenge from a manager who believed, when almost no one else did. Neymar took it. And here we are. The name appears on the screen. Neymar Jr., selected for Brazil's 2026 World Cup squad. And what happens next is something you rarely see in football. Brazilians pour into the streets, not to celebrate a trophy, just the news that he will be there, that he gets a chance, one final chance. His old teammate Marcelo, retired, nothing left to gain, watches the announcement on camera, and he can barely contain himself. Let's go. I knew it. Because this is what Neymar does to people, even now, even after everything, even after the injuries, the controversies, the years of doubt, he still makes people believe. Neymar himself speaks, "This is my last World Cup. I don't even know if I'll still be playing after this." Think about those words. A player who first appeared at a World Cup in 2014 when he carried Brazil on his back and ended up stretchered off with a fractured vertebra is now here. 12 years later, older, slower, more fragile, but still here. 2014 was supposed to be his moment. It ended in tears and a 7-1 humiliation on home soil. 2018 was supposed to be his redemption. His body betrayed him. 2022, he made it to Qatar, but left another knockout round with his heart broken again. 3 World Cups, 3 wounds that never fully healed. And now, one more shot. Not as the heir to Pelé, not as the future of football, just as a man who has one more game left to give. One last chance to write his own ending. Neymar may not be the best player at this World Cup. He may not even be the best player on Brazil's squad. But he might be the most important. Because football, real football, isn't just about who is fastest or strongest or youngest. Sometimes it's about one man standing at the edge of everything he's ever worked for and choosing to take one last step forward. On June the 11th, the World Cup begins, and Neymar will be there. Will Neymar win the World Cup? Stay tuned and hit subscribe.